Right. After a oh, I can do this too. Doop. There we go. And do this. After a couple of streams, which I was anticipating this would probably take a couple of streams. I probably could have finished it in one stream if I really wanted to stretch it, but I think letting this game rest for a little bit isn't too big of a problem. I think I finished it in one sitting last time I played it though. But stuff takes a little bit longer when you're streaming, just because it's like, and you know, you interact with other people while you're doing it, so you're not just focusing on the game. And this honestly it's probably like the type of game that you probably just want to like focus on completely if you want to immerse yourself in it. But I didn't feel like streaming it was too big of a detriment. I probably recommend people just like sit down in a dark room and play it though. But I think I played this game before. I played it in 2017 when it released. Loved it then. And going back to it now, I think I'm left with the exact same feeling I had back then, which is that this is like a very, very excellent game. Particularly for being, for what it is, I feel like. It's an interesting way to tell a story, and an interesting way to use the gameplay to that advantage, I think. It's definitely a game that a lot of people won't like because of the gameplay. It's super simple. It's repetitive. The combat isn't particularly difficult. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say if the combat's difficult or not, because obviously that depends a lot on your skill level. But the combat isn't particularly intricate. It's not like you have to like juggle combos or anything. Like if you know how to parry and you know how to push a button, then you're pretty much good on the combat of it. But everything in the game feels like it does exactly what it needs to do, which I think is the biggest benefit that Hellblade has going for it. It's the fact that there's no aspect of the game that feels like it steps out of bounds or it isn't narratively cohesive. It's a very it's very lacking of ludonarrative dissonance. It's a game where everything feels like it serves a purpose, and when you do it, it feels natural and it doesn't take you out of the moment ever. Including when you lose, right? Like even losing in this game doesn't feel like you're taken out of the moment necessarily. Like it sucks, but it's not like you go like loading screen and then oh now you're back at like the last checkpoint or whatever. Which is cool. I really like that. I think from just a story perspective, like I was saying during the credits, I really like the fact that the game. I like the fact that it's uncertain what is going on in the game. You're never really sure what's real or not. You're not sure what Senua's making up in her brain. Is the darkness real? Is that something that's actually like a real force that's following her? Are the voices real? Are they not? I guess to an extent, like what does it matter? It's an interesting question there to ask too. I don't know how much the developers have talked about this outside of the game. I hope they haven't done much of it. That would be my hope, that they kind of just left this all to be very intentionally vague and to be up for interpretation. That's usually what I prefer, at least. But I think that makes it more interesting. I think this game is more interesting if it is, you know, what is my interpretation versus someone else's interpretation. What do I think is real? What do other people think isn't real? How much is it a mental illness, or is it a mental illness at all? Or is the concept of the game just supposed to be like mimicking a person that kind of feels like they have an illness when they might not? A lot of that I think is very interesting, stuff that they have captured really well with the game. It does really good. It's a great representation of someone that has a mental illness. Without necessarily like exploiting that in any way, and while also kind of building on the narrative of like, is it real or is it not, which is awesome. But the story and all the themes are built on it, which is great. Like we talked about the patterns, it's cool that the primary point of the game is just kind of finding patterns where they don't exist to open barriers that might just all be in Senua's head, right? We don't know how much of her journey is real or if any of it is real. I personally, like, my interpretation will always be that I think it's more interesting if if it's both, right? If it's part of it is real, part of it isn't. And then which parts are real? It can be up for interpretation, right? It's interesting to imagine Hela just being Senua the entire time, just a fictional thing that she's fighting, and that she's just going maybe she's just going through this empty place. You know, the place she's in, the location can be real. The fallen down buildings, the things she traverses, the mountain she climbs, all that stuff could be real, but all the monsters she faces could be all just a part of her mind. The puzzle can be real, you know, her needing to figure out a way to get through a door, that stuff can be real. Well, the way she gets a solution, the way she figures out how to do that is again just part of her brain, which I think is really cool. The same when it comes to the themes of like light and dark, right? I mentioned early on how it's cool that, and it like Senua has this moments of clarity, of brightness, where the world around her is all summer, it's all nice, the sun is shining, and then as she progresses, it kind of like slowly fades away over and over again. And we had that at the end there too, right? Where you have these like great moments of brilliant light, overshadowed by moments of darkness, which I think does a good job to kind of portray what a person going through some of these episodes might be going through, and really does a good job of like cementing the story together. I think it's also a story without any like real villains necessarily. Like the darkness is a villain, but it's not necessarily portrayed as a villain throughout the game. Hela might be like a villain, but she doesn't play like a very big role in the game. And also her design is very good. I really like the Hela's design. The combat too does a good job of working with the story, right? It's very it's a struggle. Like Senua's entire thing is just struggling. When you're fighting people, it's just struggling. She's beating back the darkness like in a very physical way, refusing to give up. And it's cool to see the evolution of the voices too. The voices kind of like mocking her very frequently, being very passive aggressive, being like a negative force in her life, and then slowly towards the end kind of almost becoming afraid for themselves, and then eventually kind of taking a more positive note, like assisting her instead of fighting against her, which I thought was very cool. Which kind of happens as Senua realizes that she kind of feels like she's been manipulated, right? And that's also a part of the story where you know, like what's real or what isn't here. But it seems like the interpretation of the story is that Senua's mother had some sort of... She probably had schizophrenia or some sort of other mental illness. She was burned for it by a priest or someone, I assume. Was like, I don't know if that was... I don't think that's Senua's father. It might have been, though. I'm not sure about that. But she was burned for it, and then Senua was, of course, cursed, is the interpretation. Which is where you can say, like, was she... You know, is that self-inflicted? Was that forced upon her by other people, kind of forcing her to believe something? And then she was kept in the darkness. Her father trying to cure her by doing rituals and, you know, banishing the darkness away. She found some light in Dillion, which seemed to kind of lead her on a good path until Dillion was killed, and then she ran into Druth, who's the one that kind of led her to believe that she could find Dillion, that she could find some sort of way to save him from what happened to him, and kind of infuse her mind with all of the things she's going through, right? Which is where you can also be like, is any of it real, or is it just the mad ravings of a dying like druid who poisoned her brain with all these like Norse themes that she ended up going through? And that's a really cool concept. I really like that. The resolution at the end is pretty hopeful too, which is nice, right? It's kind of, it seems like it's Senua kind of coming to terms with things. Like, she went on a journey, and the journey wasn't a waste of time. The journey is what kind of led her to maybe becoming a bit more what's the word I'm looking for here? Not sentient, but like aware. There's like an S word for that, but she's a bit more aware of like what's going on with her and where she is in life, which is definitely very interesting. And I look forward to seeing where Hellblade 2 takes the story. Like, Are we going to continue down the same journey? Is Senua going to be a bit more lucient? Which I guess we'll find out soon, TM. From a gameplay perspective, the gameplay is fine. It's the type of gameplay that does what it needs to do to tell the story, and it doesn't do anything else. I still stand by that the runestones may be a little bit unnecessary. I don't know if those are... I don't know if they really do a good job of like adding to the world, but I like that's kind of like your vision into Druth and what Senua has heard. So they're okay in that aspect, but I feel like maybe having to spend less time looking around for those and then missing some of them would have made the game a little bit more interesting. It's the type of thing where it's like, I don't necessarily... Like, for this game, I kind of want to just keep going forwards. I just want to keep moving forwards and going through it. I don't want to spend time, like, moving through the same area so I can find a runestone. And I didn't spend a lot of time doing that, but I feel like that maybe takes away from the game a little bit. The combat is... I think the combat is great. I think it's very cinematic. It's probably boring to watch when you're not playing it, but it does exactly what I wanted to do, which is, like... It's very smooth. It makes me feel powerful as Senua. It makes me feel like she's actually battling something without being, like, overwhelmed. And when she's overwhelmed, that feels like it's just, like, a natural part of the story, too, right? Like, at the end there, when I'm getting knocked down over and over again and I'm standing up, that feels very natural. Thought of was, I think, when you had to run away from the fire and look for the stuff at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one, too. Yeah. I already went through that one, though. That's in Odin's Trials. That one was very scary, but... I was thinking of the dog chasing you, Wolf. But I think the one in the the big guys was scarier, honestly. That was creepier to me. The fire one would be second to me, though. I remember the dog part being scarier than it was. That ended up being not that bad. But saying like, yeah, that wasn't as bad as I remember it being. It was still kind of creepy, but I think I would do the water darkness thing. Then the running for fireman, and then the dog thing, probably. The dog thing stuck with me the most for some reason. I have no idea why. Yeah, so from a gameplay perspective, I would probably go a different route with those rune things. I think the information they give can be valuable, because it kind of gives you a frame into the person that told Senua all that she knows, and how she kind of got to believe a lot of the things that she believes. So from that perspective, I think it's very interesting. Just maybe do that in a different way next time. That is what I would hope from Hellblade 2. Because this is a game where you want to just immerse yourself and just keep going through the journey. Because the second you start looking for things, then it feels like you're no longer in the journey anymore. The second I stop and I let me run back to this area to look for another runestone, then I'm kind of like, I'm out of Senua's journey, which I didn't enjoy. Music is great, particularly at the end there. That's a great segment, both from a fighting perspective, Senua pushing forwards, the acting in that, the fighting in that was a really good package. So music in this is just super good. It works perfectly for the game. I like the end credit song. I just didn't like the way it faded in. That felt a little bit weird. Felt I was watching like a movie or something, like a modern movie where it's like not like a Marvel movie necessarily, but it felt very on the nose, I guess. Performances, obviously super good in this. We'll watch. We'll take a second to watch. God, my stream deck crashed again. Why does this keep happening? Ugh. Stream deck. We'll take a second to watch this, which is the best performance winner for 2017, I think. I thought this was pretty good. Tom saying 2 out of 10 absolute garbage? What the hell? That's thanks for bringing that up, though. I didn't mention this for some reason, but the voices, obviously, super good. Like, the way they follow you around, really good. The way they're, narrated, super good. A good way to kind of help you in the game, too. It's interesting compared to something like God of War Ragnarok, right? Where you just have people like, hey, Kratos, what's that over there? What is that medallion, Kratos? Kratos, have you tried taking the medallion? And this is just voices just like, over there. It's there. Look at this picture. And you're like, oh damn, okay, that's kind of cool because it feels, despite doing kind of a similar thing, it feels more internalized, which is nice, I think. And this game has a cool story too, which I mentioned this before, but it's like the girl that plays, the woman that plays Sanua, she wasn't meant to be like the main character for this game ever. She's someone that worked at the company or something, and then they were like, hey, we need to test some of this mocap equipment. Like, we want to sort of test it out to see if we can use it. And then you just end up like really liking her performance in that, and then she ended up becoming like the main character of the game, which is really cool. That's a cool story for a game. Let's watch this real quick before we score the game though. We mute Hellblade in the background.
From the upcoming Star Wars: The Last Jedi and the Planet of the Apes: Last
Star
Frontier,
Wars?
please welcome Andy Serkis.
Was he in the last? Oh right, he was in the Last Jedi. True.
Hi there, everybody.
This guy should have been in Lord of the
To be
Rings.
here, so thank you very much for having me. It's time to present the award for Best Performance. Now, I've been lucky enough over the years to play a lot of digital characters, so I do know how much skill and craft goes into creating a
This
performance.
guy should have been in Lord of the Rings.
Now, whether it
He would have done
involves
great in that.
motion capture, facial capture, voice acting, or all three at the same time. The powerful performances that these 5 nominees have
Did you guys hear
delivered
that?
are
That was a Golem cameo.
motion capture, facial capture, voice acting, or all three at the same time. The powerful
you guys hear that?
voice acting,
That's
or all
Gollum.
three at the same time. The powerful performances that
played
these
the
5
ring.
nominees have delivered are nothing short.
What will?
The powerful performance, voice acting,
You heard
or all three at the
Gollum,
same
right?
time. The powerful
was Gollum.
performances that these 5 nominees at the same time.
That's
The
Golem.
powerful performances that these 5 nominees have delivered are nothing short of
I
inspirational.
don't remember who else was nominated.
So here are the nominees.
Best Performance.
I came from somewhere. Even if it destroys me.
Like, fair enough. Actually, Birch did a good job as Aloy, I think. I don't think anyone disagrees with that.
You can help, or you can get out of my way.
We gotta set this right.
I have not played this game,
Put
so I
the
have
fighting
nothing about
spirit
it.
back in the American people. People gotta know they don't have to take this shit no more.
Chloe Fraser, collector of antiquities. The greatest treasure. Now that's...
They don't do this at the Game Awards, right? They should do this. This is cool. I wish they did this as the Game Awards. They don't do the thing anymore where they like show all the show some gameplay trailers or whatever.
modern music vibe.
I hated this game. These guys don't deserve this at all.
What the shaver?
I didn't like this game at all. I thought
Where the
it was a
hell's
bad
the
game.
Boy said I sent us on a fool's errand.
This at the Oscars in school. Yeah, they should do.
My face.
They should do this at the Game Awards. I don't know why they wouldn't. This is really good. Is this the BAFTAs or? Oh, it's the Game Awards. Why are they not doing this anymore? I guess it takes a lot of time, right?
There is nothing to go back to at all. Stop me. I can still feel it.
All your suffering was bringing for nothing.
Probably COVID.
And the Game Award goes to Melina Jurgen's Hellblade.
This was a big meme at the time because she's wearing the mocap suit. People are like, oh my god, she's wearing the mocap suit. That's so cool. Shorter format, less money.
Thank you so much, Andy. I really respect your work, and it's such an honor to get an award handed from you. Yeah, I'm super nervous. I'm actually Ninja Theory's video editor. I'm not an
video
actress
editor.
at all. Yeah. So, Hellblade has been my first ever acting job. I've never done anything like that at all in my life, and I just want to thank Ninja Theory. And
She's a bit off put by him kissing her. I mean, she's like starstruck, right? You're gonna love the idea of like, you have all these actors who've been working on acting their entire life. They've been in like 600 games. They never won an award for anything. And then it's like, she's like, oh, I'm just a video editor. I've never done any acting before.
team so much for supporting me and being patient with me and giving me this chance to prove that I can do it and believing in me. And sorry, I had to write a few notes. Also, so much thank you to our fans that have been following our dev diaries right from the start. We've been filming behind the scenes from year 1 to year 3, like everything that we've been doing, and we've built up a huge fan base that are just amazing and so supportive.
True motion capture actually directly.
I just want to say that I feel so
know.
honored to.
It's still a great moment,
I just feel
though.
so honored that I had the opportunity to give a voice to people that are suffering from mental health issues, and it's just been such a great journey for me. Thank you so much.
That's a cool moment. Alright, it's Judgment Day time, guys. Hellblade. It's on the list, it's at the very bottom because I just added it. Hellblade, Sanua Sacrifice. On the Endaline scale, 10, flawless masterpiece. 9, everyone should play this. 8, great experience, worth playing. 7, good, play if you like the genre. 6, alright, play if it sounds fun. 5, average. 1 to 4, avoid at all cost. I think I'm gonna have to give Hellblade a... I think I'm gonna give it a 2.3. I said this on your credits. Fair. I said this on credits. I was thinking about Hellblade last night. I was thinking that I think this is like an 8.9 for me. Not necessarily like in the 9s, but definitely like almost there. But I think after the ending sequence, I think I'm definitely in the 9s for Hellblade. Which a lot of that comes down to the fact that, like, what do you criticize the game for? Very cohesive narrative, very good acting, great depiction of mental illness, great sequences, puzzles are fun, not too challenging. Like, what do you? So there are a few criticisms, right? Like, not necessarily there's not enough gameplay in the game. A lot of like repetitive actions. Finding the rune tablets might be a little bit take out the game a little bit. Also a bit repetitive though, and the gameplay is a bit simple. Yes, exactly. But also, as I said before, like both of those are true. But also, I feel like the game manages to like be the game manages to be short enough that at least for me it doesn't negatively impact the experience. I had a bad experience with this one boss fight going for too long. Which boss fight? Or are you talking about the one where the difficulty was messing with you? Oh, Fenrir. Okay, fair. I mean, I died on Fenrir because that was a bit bullshit, but yeah. I just kept going. Fair. For like half an hour. The hell? Jesus. I think a 9.1 is where I would put this game. I think on the scale that makes sense, because I do agree with what you're saying, Will Konak. I do agree that the game does have as soon as the scale for me not dying and stuff, yeah, that's very possible. The game does have some problems. I don't think they're detrimental enough that like it takes away too much from the game. But a lot of it can depend on your playing experience and how you enjoy games too. But I think for the performances alone, I think for the cohesiveness of the good moments in the game, and especially the ending, which was very, very well put together, I didn't remember it being that good. I think that's not to bump it up to a 9.1 from like an 8.9 for me. We have streamed this game now. Very good. And if we go look at the score here, it's an 8.1 from reviewers. It's really good. Yeah, I think it's very, very good. Hellblade 1. How long to beat? How long is this game? 7.5 to 9. They should have gotten all the praise in 2017 and not Horizon. I mean, it won at least one award. They're very different games, though. Like if I had to choose one of these games as like my game of the year, I don't know, because like let's say you had to pick one of these games to play for the rest of your life, right? It would almost have to be Horizon, but that's not necessarily like indicative of how quality the game is, though. Because I would rate Hellblade way higher than Horizon any day of the week. One is real cool, and the second one is boring. Horizon had its moments. You're being a negative, Nancy, but it did have its moments. It did have some fun gameplay. It did have some fun moments. And actually, Birch did good as Aloy. And if you ignore everything that isn't just the main story is decent. Nothing to like write home about, but decent. I like the Cauldrons and Aloy, yeah. I think some of the other characters were cool too, but sides of the NPCs, yeah, very generic, very generic. We streamed this game, Hellblade, for 9.1 hours. 9.1. Cool. Well, if you go over to the GG list, update this. I don't think this is going to be any surprise, but it's going right below Red Dead Redemption 2. Like better than these games for sure. Even if they're better at different things. Let's see here. 2024. We have 7 games played on stream in 2024. Oh god, we're halfway through the year. How's this possible? How's this possible? We're halfway through the year. Oh, God bless. Hellblade. I think this is a pretty fair spot for it. I'd probably agree with this. I don't think I have anything else to say about Hellblade. I think that pretty much summed it up for me. Great game, great performances. Has some minor issues here and there, but nothing that I think a good thing to consider if you look at Hellblade is just, does it hold up to this day? You know, this kind of like almost, you can almost argue it's almost like a tech demo. Released 2017. You know, 7 years ago at this point. Does it hold up? Yes. Graphically holds up in terms of gameplay. Like the gameplay doesn't feel dated. It's very simple, but it doesn't feel like something that you couldn't see today in games. Puzzles are fine, voice acting is good, performance is great, like, still holds up. And with that, let me quit out of Hellblade. Let me remove this.